So if you find any suspicious packages on your front porch at your residence, do not handle them, but instead call 911 and let us come out and take a look at those packages and ensure that they are safe.
That warning today from Interim Police Chief Brian Manley after 3 package explosions in just 10 days. You can see the map, the 3 areas where they all happened. Between these 3 cases, 2 people are now dead and 2 others have been hurt.
We have live team coverage tonight. We start with Christy Millward, who's live near Galindo Street, which is off Riverside near Montopolis, at the site of the 3rd explosion. Christy?
We have no information right now that makes us believe this is anything beyond an isolated incident.
When lives are on the line,
we do not see anything that makes us believe this is part of a larger operation.
Words matter more.
I do not believe that we have somebody that's going around leaving packages like this.
For police, it's life and death. Austin police investigated an explosion on March 2nd. A 39-year-old man, Anthony Stephen House, died. His 8-year-old child nearby.
I mean, it's just too early.
If you look at this investigation, you see the shifts. March 2nd, Chief Brian Manley said they're investigating a homicide. He had no information to believe it was beyond an isolated incident. Didn't see anything to be part of a larger operation.
But we are not making assumptions.
Then March 5th, more relief for the public. The investigation was downgraded from homicide to suspicious death. Assistant Chief Joe Chacon said it appeared to be isolated at that point. He added that the victim, Mr. House, could have constructed the device and accidentally detonated it.
In which case it would be an accidental death. So that's why we're not calling it a homicide yet.
Then 1 week later, a hard turn back to homicide. After more explosions, more injuries, and another death, police connected the 2 cases back to March 2nd. This time, APD acknowledged the public is at risk too, saying be aware and be cautious. Now they found similarities that they cannot rule out these incidents are in fact related.
We want the community to be aware.
And now Austin is on alert. For the KVUE Defenders, Erica Proffer, KVUE News.
Sources tell me it's not unusual at all for investigators to try to learn everything they can about crime victims, including who their friends were. In this case, they have found connections between the 2 victims. Anthony House, the first bomb victim, is the stepson of Reverend Freddie Dixon. Dixon is a close personal friend of Norman Mason, a local dentist. And Mason is the grandfather of 17-year-old Draylon Mason, the second victim killed by a package explosion Monday. Now, we have confirmed that both men attend Wesley Methodist Church in East Austin and that federal agents have interviewed other members of that church. Reverend Dixon was pastor there for 22 years, and Norman Mason was a member. Police are still looking into any possible connection to the 3rd location, including the possibility that the bomb that seriously injured a 75-year-old woman may have been meant for another house on that street. A person with the same last name, Mason, lives just a few houses away.
Quita, I talked to several people today who knew Draylon Mason. They all tell me he was a smart, bright, talented young kid whose life was taken too soon. Now, I talked to music and martial arts teachers, some who have known him since he was just 5 years old. They all say he was energetic, had a big smile, and was a person you could go to for advice. Mason was a 3rd-degree black belt, but they say music was his first passion. He played string bass for Austin Soundwaves, a group through the Hispanic Alliance, and used to play with the youth band Soul Tree Collective. Everyone says he was a great kid.
Always smiling, always working hard, very well-mannered, very well-spoken.
And he was that friend of when other kids were having a hard time that, okay, of course I'm going to go talk to Draylon. He's got all this wisdom, he's wise beyond his years.
Charismatic kid, he's was outgoing, happy.
Now, friends are trying to figure out how to honor Mason. Moses Williams, his martial arts instructor, says they plan to make a scholarship in his honor and promote him from 3rd to 5th degree black belt. Now, we also heard from Mason's school today, East Austin College Prep. He was a senior there, scheduled to graduate this semester. Administrators there say he had an infectious smile and say they will try to honor his spirit. Live in Central East Austin, Christy Millward, KVUE News.
It is a house filled with signs of hope and faith and love.
It's just been hard to accept it.
That's why this family can't understand why the White House on Galindo Street, their family home for more than half a century, was a target of the Austin bomber.
Just like, why here, Why my sister?
On the morning of May 12th, their mother, 93-year-old Mary Moreno, was sitting in her favorite chair in her kitchen. She just finished breakfast when her daughter and full-time caretaker, Esperanza Herrera, affectionately called Hope, went outside the front door. She assumed a package left overnight was her mother's mail-order medication. Then a blast rocked the Moreno home.
I had the water heater in here, and I was screaming, the water heater burst.
It was the second of 2 explosions that day. The first killed 17-year-old Draylon Mason and put Austin on edge that a serial bomber was on the loose. Moreno says she realized what had just unfolded outside was far more dangerous.
And then I start hear her screaming, "Take my mother out." And I was going to walk, and I saw all the glasses.
Moreno used her walker to escape out her back door, where neighbors got her to safety. The last thing she saw before paramedics loaded her into an ambulance was her daughter, and wondering whether she would live or die.
I saw her on the ground, all bloody, and not going to get her to her because they didn't let me.
Over the past 11 weeks, family members say they have been by Esperanza's bedside, their mother staying with her sometimes 12 hours at a time and almost refusing to leave.
Every chance she gets, she wants to be there with her.
Moreno could not return to her home for several weeks, not until the FBI no longer considered it a crime scene and family members could make necessary repairs. Now the family is focused on Esperanza's healing.
I said, well, there's hope for her. This is her second chance for her.
And one day, hopefully, her return to this house on Galindo Street.
But I want to be here for her.
The family says Mary Moreno had to do several repairs to her home, including a new front door. Family members have also added security cameras after they say their feeling of safety on the street has been forever tarnished. Tony Plahetsky, KVUE News Night Beat.
And thank you for staying with us. We start with that breaking news tonight. Reports of 2 more bomb explosions in Austin. These happened in southwest Austin. KVUE's Aaron Jones has been live at the media staging area for the past hour or so. We are hoping to learn more from officers who are on the scene. We'll go to her in just a moment. But what we know so far is that there are 2 people who have been injured in this one confirmed detonation. It is 2 males in their 20s, one with reported nails in his leg from the detonation.
Good Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us for Daybreak. It's just about 6 a.m. and we're following more breaking news here this morning. There's been an explosion reported at a package facility in the San Antonio area.
This blast happened overnight this morning, Tuesday morning, at the FedEx Ground Distribution Center in Schertz. Just to give you an idea, that's northeast of San Antonio, about an hour from Austin. Tony Plahetsky once again joins us on the phone with more information. Now, Tony, what are we learning?
Well, Brian and Yvonne, earlier this morning, federal law enforcement told me that they do believe that this is possibly related to these 4 other incidents that have happened in Austin. They are still investigating that. Based on preliminary information from one federal source early this morning, they are investigating and have reason to believe that this package was being sent from an Austin address to an Austin address.
Welcome back. We're following breaking news this morning off of I-35. I-35 northbound and southbound lanes are all shut down right now. APD, FBI on scene trying to arrest the suspect in the bombing incidents that have happening around Austin since March the 2nd.
I'm Tim Ryan. I'm the news director here at KVUE, and we have information from Tony Plohetsky, who works for KVUE and the Austin American-Statesman. Confirmation that the suspect in these bombings is dead. We cannot attribute that source right now, but Tony is reporting that the suspect is dead.
As members of the Austin Police Department SWAT team approached the vehicle, the suspect detonated a bomb inside the vehicle, knocking one of our SWAT officers back, and one of our SWAT officers fired at the suspect as well. The suspect is deceased and has significant injuries from a blast that occurred from detonating a bomb inside his vehicle.
I've been trying to figure out more information and gain more information about the suspect himself. And I am comfortable reporting at this point that this suspect is a local person. This is not someone who lived somewhere else and came to Austin to carry out these crimes. I am told that this is a person who lives here locally.
Let's get to what the governor is saying this morning. Obviously, Governor Greg Abbott put $15,000 up early on in this investigation as reward money. The Austin bomber is dead. He says more work needs to be done to ensure no more bombs had been sent before he died. The governor goes on to say the investigation continues. To learn more information, congratulations to the combined law enforcement effort.
And some people might be thinking, okay, it's over. That's it. No, it's not. So we have no idea if some packages have already been sent out prior to what took place last night. So it's very important that we just do our part to be very vigilant and still be very cognizant of packages that come in.
Absolutely. If you could zoom out, we're going to get Tony in here right now. We've got breaking news here to bring you. Important part of this story, obviously, is who this person is. Tony's been working the phones and his sources to confirm this. You've known for a while the name, but now you have you're comfortable in telling us who this person was.
I am. The person has been identified by state, federal, and local law enforcement sources as 23-year-old Mark Condit. That is the name that has been confirmed by multiple officials this morning. They are continuing to investigate. I'm being told that authorities are serving a search warrant on his home right now in an effort to gain other additional information in this case. But again, authorities are confirming the identity of this suspect. There is evidence that this person was planning to continue their attack. I am told by law enforcement sources that authorities found additional evidence on his computer that he was Googling addresses in the Austin area that they believe he was going to be targeting as well. I am also told that they found addresses that he had been Googling in Cedar Park in the overnight hours, and in fact dispatched state troopers to those addresses last night to check their front porches and to notify the residents that they may be in danger.
We do also want to bring you now a picture of the suspect that Tony told us who he is. This is a picture I believe is about 3 or 4 years old, but Mark Anthony Condit is the young man's name. This is his picture, I believe from a Facebook profile picture. This young man, 23 years old, is the suspect. It was posted in 2013. Thank you for that to Juan, our producer, doing great work this morning to show us these pictures and bring all the coverage. We're joined here on the set by Jeremy Rogalski with more information on the serial bomber. We do know his name. Now, what else have you learned, Jeremy?
So I spoke with the owner of a company where Mark Condit worked for the past 4 years. The company is Crux Manufacturing. It is in Pflugerville. It's an engineering and machine shop, a sort of turnkey operation that buys raw materials from vendors and works up some plans and then makes parts for various applications in the oil industry and so forth. The owner, who only wanted to identify himself by his first name, Tim, said he hired Mark Condit about 4 years ago when he was 19 or so. I asked him why he hired him. He said, well, he seemed like a smart kid who had a lot of promise.
This is a small community. Pflugerville is not a big city. It is a small city. And so a lot of people know each other. But people here say they didn't know him that well, even though he lived here in this home. And Christy Millward has been looking into his background. She has spoken with folks who did in fact know him, and she is closer to the evacuation zone near his house tonight. Christy?
Terry, I want to show you, we just moved a little bit closer. This is where authorities have allowed us to get up to that perimeter where the investigation is going on just down this road. Now, I've talked to a lot of people in this area. While they all say it's a small town feel, so everyone knows everyone in some way, they say that they don't want to jeopardize this investigation going on down here, and they don't want to say the wrong thing. So here's what we do know. 23-year-old Mark Anthony Condit's mother homeschooled him for much of his life. According to Austin Community College, he then enrolled in classes there from 2010 to 2012 at the Northridge and Round Rock campuses. He was a business administration major but didn't graduate. And many of you are talking about the blog that Condit wrote called Defining My Stance. ACC says he created that as part of a U.S. government class. Now, I talked to a barber here in Pflugerville who says Condit came in to get his hair cut there. He tells me Condit seemed normal and a nice guy. Now, we spoke to the business manager at Platinum Gymnastics who says he worked there before her family bought the business.
Mark Condit worked for the previous owners for a very short time. Once our family purchased Platinum Gymnastics, he did not work for us, so we don't have any association with him.
Now, the Condit family released a statement today saying, quote, "We are devastated and broken at the news that our family member could have been involved in such a way. We had no idea of the darkness that Mark must have been in." They go on to say their prayers are with the victims' families. Now, a neighbor of Condit's parents tell us he was the oldest of 4 children and that he had 3 younger sisters. That neighbor describes him as a friendly neighborhood kid.
What is clear from listening to that video is this was a very troubled young man who was talking about challenges in his life that led him to the point to where he took the actions that he took. And there were also indications of actions he was willing to take in the future.
Before we saw this and heard for the first time, the person has been identified by state, federal, and local law enforcement sources as 23-year-old Mark Condit. The man whose actions put Austin on edge for weeks found a few minutes to record his thoughts. It starts with Condit saying, "It's me again." He says he knows at this point police knew his name and he was preparing for the inevitable, planning, he says, to go to a McDonald's and blow himself up. He describes himself as a psychopath and has been since childhood. Forensic psychologist Dr. Max Wattell.
A true psychopath does not have the ability to understand right from wrong, to have that moral compass that the rest of us have. They're very callous, unemotional, they're very cold and calculating.
There would be few opportunities for someone other than the family to diagnose him. He was homeschooled, spent some time attending Austin Community College, before dropping out to work at a job he lost last August.
You can tell that something is wrong. The hair on the back of your neck stands up, and it's almost like you're talking to a person through a clouded glass, and they just kind of exude this aura of evilness almost, so that it's very creepy and very troubling. I don't know if that was the experience that law enforcement professionals were having when they were watching that tape, but something like that can come through, even on a video, if somebody is that mentally deranged.
At the end of the recording, Condit reflects, "I wish I were sorry, but I am not."
As we've learned more about Condit tonight, we've also heard a lot of rumors.
Claims about his beliefs, fake images, and more. So let's go over to our Jason Puckett to verify what's real tonight.
Yeah, guys, there have been a lot of rumors, a lot of talk online and in person about the suspect in this case. Let's break down what we can verify as true and false tonight. First off, we're going to address these wrong photos that keep popping up on social media. We keep having on our own social media page these images pop up side by side, and folks asking why we're showing this photo of Condit instead of this other one of him holding a gun. Well, the easy answer, this isn't Condit in the second photo. This is Sam Hyde, an internet comedian, YouTube celebrity who for some reason has become a victim of a hoax online and keeps having his photo pop up after shootings and attacks across the country. So coming back here to the board, we're firmly putting that in the false category. Second up, Kelly Kilmore. We've heard reports today that that was the name the suspect used on the boxes he sent through FedEx. We can verify through the FBI and APD. That is true, verified tonight. Next up, we want to get into a question of background checks. And some of these conversations online, like the ones you're looking at, people keep posting these pages, seeming to show that Condit was a Republican or a Democrat, how much money he made, what his life was like. We want to point out this site is false in this case. We're going to move it into the false category. Anyone can get onto this site that folks keep referencing and change the information to say whatever they want at that time. Finally, we're going to talk about white supremacy a little bit tonight. A lot of folks online have been asking if that is possibly Condit's motivation in all of this. While APD said there may be some hints possibly towards motivation at this time, we have no confirmed evidence or clues to lead us towards believing it was white supremacy or any to say that it wasn't. We're going to work on answering that, leave it unconfirmed for now. Folks, if you have any other questions going forward, any claims or rumors as this investigation continues, make sure you send them to news@kview.com. We'll verify that information for you and get it back as soon as we can. For now, here in the newsroom, I'm Jason Puckett, KView News, Nightbeat.
Why Mark Condit went on the run to a Round Rock hotel Tuesday night may be explained by what happened hours earlier at his front door.
We're dispatched by radio out of Austin.
Pflugerville Fire Chief Ronald Mollenberg says his paramedics were dispatched to Condit's home for an unknown medical assist call at 1 minute after 4.
The squad responded, and the paramedics went to the door and said, did you call 911? The people who responded to the door said, no, we don't.
Those paramedics, Squad 211, were in an SUV like this. But while on scene, dispatchers urgently call out to Medic 211, an ambulance, to not go to the Condit home.
Medic 211 needs you to stage. Medic 211 stage. We're going to assign you, but you need a stage.
Staging means staying back in the nearby area, usually to wait for further law enforcement orders. Dispatch repeats its call again.
Medic 211 needs you to stage at your fire station. Do not make scene.
But it was too late. The other medics in that SUV were already at the Condit home, never receiving instructions to stay back and wait.
Medic 211 to Squad 211. Did you get the stage on this call?
Yeah. No, we didn't.
It's unclear whether Condit was there with his roommates when medics came to the door.
Could this have been what tipped Mark Condit off?
You know, that would be pure speculation on my part.
What is clear, Condit was on the move after that. And while Pflugerville's fire chief maintains his medics were simply following initial dispatch orders.
Knowing what you know now.
Wow. We certainly wouldn't have responded to the door.
Before we go to break, we remember those whose lives were taken. Anthony House and Draylon Mason, and the others who are still recovering from the explosions.